Hello everyone, welcome to Sirus migration live session with all the latest migration news coming up on every Thursday at 3 p.m. My name is Isuru. Yapa. I'm an Australian registered migration agent here from Sirus. So every Thursday we dedicating this time to share our knowledge with all our viewers all around the world, just to demystify their knowledge about to improve their knowledge about Australian migration system and anything relevant to you. And if there's anything that you would like to know or learn about Australian migration system or the visas, we would like to share our knowledge as much as we can during this time. And it doesn't cost you anything, so you can ask me any questions while during the session, or if there are questions that we couldn't answer during the time, we welcome you to write to us through admin@sirus.com.au. Today is the episode 39. It's every week. I think it's a long way as well that we started. So I must say I'm not the best presenter, or I'm not the most qualified educator, but my whole idea behind this is to share my knowledge and share my experience that I deal with my clients every day, and educate you so you don't get lost or cheated or get not unfound in the migration system, and help you stay legal within the Australian visa system. I started my journey back in 2001 as an international student as well. Went through a lot of different pathways, and I have no regrets, but lots of experience that I could share during the along the way. But when I talk with my clients daily basis, I get to see certain things that some clients heading to visas and subclasses and courses and pathways without having a proper idea how we can join the pathway together and set up the migration pathway. So if you have any questions, we are currently live on both Facebook as well as YouTube. If there's anything that we can you would like to get some answers for in migration, Australian immigration system, if it's not too personal for you to answer on during this live session, or if it's not too much of a long answer, I will talk to you right now, or if not, we will invite you to discuss in person. So today we've got few topics to talk about. I will briefly talk about the international borders, and hot topic, the BSMQ, the state nominations. I'll talk about a little bit about 485, 476, what are they, and how they can be relevant. I will touch base with 188 visas, the business visas, and GTI, and currently the hottest topic, the work visas. So again, thank you very much for joining the session, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and like button if you're with Facebook, and if you're with YouTube, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit it now, and if you're already a subscriber, hit that bell icon to support us with the session, so we know your support is there for us. And also by hitting the subscribe button and like button and bell button, all this, that also ensures that each time we produce one of these videos, and when we go live and give you a breaking news or some updates or share some experience, if your interest is there for Australian immigration or Australian visas, then you'll be notified each time we go live. So let's have a quick chat about the borders open. A lot of people always ask me questions about the borders and when they'll be open. So this is the latest news as of a couple of days, so mostly valid right now. So we've got a bit of a breakdown about the international travel. We can now bring it on the screen. So these are the travel permissions from state to state for live travel. So if you were to travel into Australia, these are the restrictions from each state. So Tasmania currently does not accept any international travels, so unless you got a travel exemption. Whereas New South Wales being very generous, and they're opening their borders for fully vaccinated Australians and permanent residents as of 1st of November, which is about a week or just around the corner from a week. And also hotel quarantines are capped at $210 for unvaccinated Australians and permanent residents. So that's $210 per week. So the whole hotel quarantine only costs Australian citizens and permanent residents $420 if they didn't have any hiccups. So it's $210 a week. That includes food and accommodation too, which is very good news. Whereas Victoria's opening up and capping their cost to $500, and no restrictions for international travel, and Victorians for those who are fully vaccinated. So that's a massive thing. And they're also considering home quarantine. They're expecting the borders to be open by 5th of November for international travel. Queensland's being very well managed according to the hotel system and hospital system, and to the state's residents. Now they are expecting to open up for international travelers as well. They're going to cap at $500 per week for Australian citizens and permanent residents. When they Queensland's expecting to open up have the 70% all of the state residents been vaccinated by 19th of November. So they expected 14-day hotel quarantine to be applied to Australian citizens and permanent residents, or including if you're traveling interstate. And also Queensland's expected to have 80% vaccinated by 17th of December. So from there, citizens and permanent residents must be home quarantines for 14 days, so they don't have to go into a hotel. And at 90%, we would like that to come sooner than later. When 90% of the residents get vaccinated, then it'll be fully open for travelers. So if getting through the numbers, if we're getting 70% vaccinated by 19th of November, 90% vaccinated, as 80% vaccinated by 17th of December, it would be fair to predict that 90% of Queenslanders will be vaccinated by mid-January. So by mid-January, there won't be any restrictions for travelers to Queensland. It'll be a good reuniting time for everyone, hopefully. South Australia is being very generous as well. Hotel quarantine capping at $265 for international travelers, and they're also trialing the home quarantine trial. Western Australia, hotel quarantine again, $265 for international travelers. And NT, they're allowing 1,000 arrivals a week, I think 1,000 arrivals a week, and 14-day quarantine. ACT, no international arrivals at this stage, and there's no predicted dates and no restrictions for international travel for New South Wales for those who are vaccinated. So if you're living in New South Wales wanting to go interstate, if you're not vaccinated, it's going to get tough again. Our chassis friends are not welcoming internationals at this stage. So this could also help international students to get prepared and get organized yourself when you're applying for the universities, and plan yourself when you're applying for your university enrollments and offer letters. So we're expecting the first semester of 2022 is a welcoming semester for most of the international students, but please pay attention to these arrival indications and the travel indications, which will give you a good guideline to find which state to go and which university to enroll in. So that'll be a very good indication. And also remember, these days there are still many universities and institutes offering major scholarships for international students. University of Southern Queensland, James Cook, QUT, Holmes, Torrens. If most of the major universities got one way or the other some sort of good scholarship program. How you can be qualified and what criteria is applicable for you, your best way is to talk to a qualified international education advisor or a international education consultant. If you need any support here at Sirus, we always provide that service to you at no cost. So if you're an international student looking for further guidance, you're always welcome to contact us for further information, and we will support you and guide you at no cost to you directly. Long-awaited, very long-awaited news is coming to our clients who are looking to migrate or get the opportunity to migrate into through the Queensland nominated migration program. BSMQ has not yet been open for 2022 migration program, so the first invitation round, they have been advised, is around the corner now. It's not going to take too long. They'll be open anytime soon. As per the BSMQ's advice, they're finalizing the final allocations and policies and nitty-gritty of the program with the federal government right now, and they expect it to be open very soon. So who are affected and who should be excited about the BSMQ? BSMQ or Migration Queensland is the authority that provides invitations for Queensland federal government, Queensland state government migration program. People who are expecting to apply for 190 visa or 491 visa or 188 business visa, this is going to be a major news for you, and this is going to be a good opportunity for you. So normally the states and territories open 3 to 4 times a year as the invitation round, and there's going to be a big competition when BSMQ open. So if you have not yet prepared yourself, it is very important for you to get yourself prepared for this program. So 190 and 491 are for general skill migration applicants. This is state needs to nominate you before you can apply for this visa. For you to get an invitation, the protocols have not yet been released by the state, but we have seen last time we had a great 190 program where you were required to work in Queensland for for 6 months, and 491 3 months work in a regional area before you can apply for the invitation round. This time we don't know we have not been advised the full category, but we're expecting a competitive, favorable program to be available for our clients soon. And then also, if you're a client who's expecting to extend your visa business in Queensland, your invitation has to be invited. Your application has to be invited if you're going through 188A or B through the state government. So if you're expecting to travel to Queensland to start your business, then this opportunity is for you, coming around the corner for 188 visas, the business visas too. So if you're into 188 visa, 491 visa, or 190 visa, BSMQ is opening soon. Last time Queensland had the best 491, in my opinion, program. So 491 is small business operator program was introduced by BSMQ or Migration Queensland. So that allowed people with any background who's on shore with a skill assessment and full-time work rights to come and buy and operate a business for 6 months and apply for 491 small business owner. All the points you needed was 50 points by yourself. State by inviting gave you 15 points, and successful applicants got 5 years visa, which only required you to live and work in a regional Queensland for 3 years, and then you could apply for permanent residency through 191 program, 191 visa. So we're expecting that to be more excited and more streamlined this time. If you are expecting to join this program, you are expected to spend $100,000 when you purchase this business, and the business needed to be 2 years old. Again, these informations or the requirements have not been solidly put on paper yet, or even though if they have, it's not been regulated yet. So as soon as the board is open, we will get to know, and the state BSMQ open, we'll get to know, and it's not far away now. So in terms of talking about business visas, I have produced a video about 188B visa. If you are interested on business visa and what streams are available, this visa explains what are the requirements for 188B visa and how it works, etc. When the time permits, go have a look. This stream at 188B does not require you to have business experience. It only requires you to. So there's no turnover applicable. Obviously, being 188 stream, you're not required to have high English or education. They're looking at in 188B stream is your investment history, and the $1.5 million investment stream has been wiped on 1st of July, and from 1st of July the investment amount has gone up to 2.5 million, and also it with the 2.5 million, you cannot deposit these funds into territory bonds or the government bonds and just wait for a small return. Now you are allowed to spend this 2.5 million in 3 different parts: 20% in venture capital, private equity, and 30% in managed funds, and 50% in other emerging investments. So these are all been more detailed and demystified and explained in this video. So when the time permits, go have a look at it, and if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. 188A visa requires you to go more into your business turnover, so it's more based on your business turnover than your academic skills or English. So this the point table to calculate your points for business is not the same as general skill migration point table. It is a separate point table for it. So when you watch these videos, I also guide you to go through the business points table and where to find them, etc. And you can that way calculate your own points, and when you need further advice, further support, you're mostly welcome to contact us so we can discuss further about it. That's 188B. Let's touch base quickly about GTI, Global Talent Independent Visa. Global Talent Independent, you all know, I always talk about you need to be qualified working in one of those 10 target sectors. There are further target sectors under these target sectors as well. So if you're in one of these, if you either earning Australian high income threshold, which is 158,500, or recently been graduated, or you have a job offer for which exceeds the Australian high income threshold, then you're eligible to apply for this visa. You need to have an Australian nominator. Nominator can be an Australian citizen or a permanent resident, or an Australian entity who is prominent in the target sectors that you're applying for. Regularly asked questions and also, before I go into that part, actually the nominators the current invitation protocols requires a lot of background information, quite a bit of background information about the nominator. Nominator has to be equally or higher qualified in your target sector as well to be eligible to elaborate that you have better experience, etc. And people who do not have, there's a very frequent they ask question. GTI program doesn't require you to have an employer, and if your skills aren't, your expectation is now not to come and work in Australia, to demonstrate your eligibility, you can ability to earn the Australian high income threshold. You can also use the entrepreneur stream, which allows you to come and start a new venture in your target sectors. We've seen a lot of our clients and also potential clients who are currently working in technology sectors, working on magnificent apps which can make a big difference, and also people in financial services sector coming up with fintech apps. So these financial predictions and the certainty can also support you get into the system. If you also if you're a prominent person who doesn't have global awards, etc., you can also demonstrate that through your products that you probably might have done by yourself, or you might have led to create or led to start, or other awards that you might have got, or the publications, or it's not only one way you can demonstrate this. So if you need any support with Global Talent Independent Visa, I'm happy to take up your inquiry personally by myself, or one of our very well qualified registered migration agents. Please feel free to contact us via admin@sirus.com.au or any of these contact methods that are listed down below. Just before we go into questions and answers, I would like to touch base with the work visas as well. People call it ENS, Employee Nominated Scheme. Just a quick reminder about the PMSOL before we go into the pathways. Primary migration skill occupation list that we will, which has been expanded, we now displaying on the screen. If you're in any of these sectors and you have been, if you apply for any of the occupation, if you're one of the qualified applicants who are in any of these occupation lists, you may be processed fairly quickly in a priority manner, so 2 to 3 months in most of the times. And if you apply when you apply for a 482 or 186 visa or 494 visa, and also one other benefit is you will be exempted from travel when you apply for a travel exemption as well. So even this during these border closures with this travel exemption, you can travel into Australia and start your job. Let's have a quick look at the employer pathways. A lot of current international students who are finishing off, who would like to get more work experience or a little bit more exposure to Australian workforce, are looking into pathways without having much experience. What are the options? Options are, if you do not have 2 years work experience, but you have a work qualification, and if you have not used your 485 visa, you can always apply for a 407 visa training 407 visa. 407 training visa doesn't have a employment benchmark or a market salary benchmark, and also you do not have to have 2 years work experience behind you, but you do need to have an employer who's willing to train you. So this employer, if you're a chef in a restaurant, you're getting trained, this restaurant cannot be expected for you to work by yourself, and you always need to be guided by an experienced chef above you during this process. And if you're an accountant who would like to go through this, then the accountant, you need to have senior accountants supporting you to be in this visa. And this visa also is a good pathway or a bridge to get into 482 visa, where you're required to have 2 years work experience and the qualifications behind you. 482 visa also can lead you to 3-year work experience, 186 TRT category, or if you're already qualified, you can go without 482 visa, you can go straight to 186 direct entry visa if your occupation, if you're qualified within your occupation and have 3 years work experience, skill assessment, and also have competent English. For 482 visa though, you do not necessarily have to have a skill assessment. You may or may not require, depending on your education and also your country of origin, and the occupation. Depending on your occupation, country of origin will determine whether you're required to have a skills assessment for 482 visa. 494 visa is very similar to 482, but it is only applicable for regional employers. So if you're going through 494, you might have relaxed requirements for the visa, and also you will have a better options to get into the permanent residency through this visa as well. So it's totally up to you to find which one's the best pathway, and depending on your employer. Any of these work visas requires you to have an employer who's willing to nominate you to work with them. So we have been quite experience for a while working with all these employee nominated visas. We've been awarded some trophies, so what do you call it, recognitions through work visas as well. If you require any of these visa support, please be in touch. Talk to one of our friendly reception team to set up an appointment with one of us. Remember, with most of these, all of these work visas, one very common main part is you need to have an employer who's willing to extend a nomination for you, with regardless of which visa it is. So you need to be well qualified for this. So if you're qualified, or if you think you're qualified, be in touch. We will guide you further. Let's take a look at quickly some of the questions that you may have, and I'll see if I can answer as much questions as possible. Oh, before we go, we haven't touched base about the 476 visas, right? We've got prepared. So 476 visa is for offshore clients. You can apply for this visa even now, and you can probably travel when the borders open, which is not far away. 476 is very similar to 485 visa, but 485 visa you are expected to study in Australia in a qualifying university with a or an institute with a qualifying course or an occupation related to that, leading to that course leading to that occupation. For if you're in this 476 visa is for engineering students who are studying overseas currently in certain universities in certain programs. It doesn't have to be a civil or structural engineering course. Chemical engineering, computer engineering, all those courses are recognized to be participated into this. So if you can, this visa allows you to, once you finish your course, this visa allows you to come to Australia and live and work unlimitedly in Australia for 18 months, and that may also qualify you for the next visa, and that also allows you to apply for another visa after this as well, if you're qualified for that visa. The major 3 eligibility criteria for 476 visa is you need to study an engineering course within one of these qualified universities, which is listed in this list. You can see there are quite a few universities listed here: Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Finland, Germany, Hungary, India, China, Philippines, Poland, Slovakia, Sweden, Tasmania. If your country and the university is not listed and you're an engineering student, don't worry. There is a bigger list that I couldn't fit into this screen. This list is under Washington Accord approved university. So if you're in university, if you're an engineering student, you would know where to find your the Washington Accord approved universities. You can have a look. I'll give you an example. I couldn't see Sri Lanka there, so I'll go into Sri Lankan Institute. So if you studied any of these engineering degrees in one of the universities in Washington Accord universities, such as Peradeniya, Moratuwa, Ruhuna, so you'll be qualified. You're required to have you have to be under 31 years of age, completed one of these courses, and you need to have IELTS or English requirement. I'm an old school guy. I'll say in IELTS you can do the conversions yourself. IELTS you need to have 6 in overall and 5 as the minimum. This doesn't have to be academic. It can be general. But if you've done IELTS in or English in academic, that's fine too. So 6 overall, 5 in each band. This is a good pathway for engineering students to find their way in Australia. This is a support from Australian visa system to engineering engineering students. As I said, doesn't have to be civil or structural engineering. It can be chemical engineering, computer engineering. I can't even remember. There are many engineering subjects. Any of the qualifying streams. And just let's have a quick look at all the questions that you may have, and we'll see how I'll go through as many questions as possible during the time limits. I think the first question is from Akash Rana. Akash's question is, which will be better option for Masters in Civil Engineering, South Australia, or NT for 491 invitation? They both have very good options. South Australia has an extended program as well. If you started from the beginning, NT also has a really good program, and also because you're doing masters, I believe you already have work experience in civil engineering already. So I'm gonna change my answer a little bit differently. As I said, they're both very good. 491 focus, I would go with South Australia, so that way you don't have to be studying in NT all the time or anything like that. But then again, if you're a person with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, you might have a lot of other options such as 482 as well. So you do not have to wait till an invitation from a state or territory. So if you'd like to discuss further about your background in person, I would invite you to send us an email with the background a little bit more, so we can answer the question a little further. 𝗪𝗘𝗚𝗢𝗪𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗡, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm working as a developer programmer. Which one is the better one to have, 407 or 408 for full-time work? Programmer developer, depending on your circumstances. 408 borrows you a little bit, quite a bit of time. 408 borrows you time, and it can give you full-time work experience as well. Can go up to 1 year. Your programmer developer is a priority listed occupation as well. But 407 gives you work experience. 408, if you get the full visa, then you don't have to strict into one employer, whereas 407 is a little bit more committed between the employer and the employee as well. So it depends with your background and with your work experience. I mean, if you have enough work experience, you might not have to even consider 407. You can probably go into 408 directly. 𝗪𝗘𝗚𝗢𝗪𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗡, if you like further information, be in touch. We'll discuss further. Aditya Goswami, just got done with bachelor's in finance in Melbourne on 485 now. Next step to get my PR pathway I could use. Aditya, congratulations on your graduation. Within your sector, Victoria might not be the best option you got or the best state that you could go, depending on your circumstances. Unless you have prior work experience, you're currently in 485, so you have to wisely pick your permanent residency pathway if you are expecting to stay longer. As I said earlier, there might be employee nominated pathways available as well. And if you like to have a personalized, because I can't give you an exact answer to your background, because everyone's personal background is different from one to the other, depending on your age, experience. So I'm happy to organize a proper permanent residency pathway for you, depending on your background, if you're looking towards that way. So be in touch, send us an email and set up an appointment. We'll discuss further about you. 𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗏𝗧𝗪 Ramalingam. I'm 36 years of age, old, and living in Japan, Konnichiwa, for 10 years. I think my skills code is 2611 ICT Business Analyst. What will be the pathway for me to migrate to Australia? 𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗏, again, a very broad question, because I don't know. It's good to have the skill code 2611 ICT Business Analyst. Are you currently working in the sector, and what sort of work experience would you have? And there are two pathways. Basically, you can go through the employee nominated pathway, and also you can consider the general skill migration pathway, because you're still under 45 anyway, depending on which state and which qualifications you have. It sounds very good in English, so you might have good English score as well. Have you done your IELTS lately? So that might be another good start too. So be in touch, and we will go through a little further. Next question, 𝗪𝗘𝗘𝗞𝗟𝗬. As business visa is on priority, what is the waiting period for business visa 188A? So 188A visa has been promoted as a priority visa on 1st of July. Currently, in my opinion, the business 188A business visa waiting period can be about 3 years. But from 1st of July, departments working hard to reduce that processing time. I have had grants for 188A visa within 12 months with substantial business background, but for everyone, I think they are trying to get it around 12 to 18 months or a little faster. I think it'll be a good visa to be expedited, to expedite the processing time, because business persons are more prioritized these days. They are the people who are creating more job opportunities and bringing in capital to the state and the country as well. So hopefully, with the pandemic, post-COVID economic recovery programs, Australia will expedite the 188 or the business visa processing periods. So that's how much I can tell you now. I have not seen 2 to 3 months or any earlier than 6 months visa grants, but hopefully it will be capped to less than 1 year very soon. But we haven't seen any grants yet in that sort of time period. Having said that, though, some of the longer waiting applications being picked up by my applications been picked up by case officers, being allocated 2 case officers, so they're working really fast on it. That's a very positive indication that they're working to get rid of that backlog and then expedite the system. I think more visa officers or the case officers being allocated to 188A sector and the 188C sector, B and C sectors too. So yeah, so soon it'll be finalized sooner. Akash Rana again, which option is good for 491 invitation South Australia or NT for civil engineering masters? I think done, right? You already responded. Yeah, so Video Pro Guru, welcome back. I think we heard from you last week too. My 190 visa application has exceeded global processing time, 17 months duration. Why is that? Please kindly explain. I wouldn't take it as an adverse information. It could be maybe you're currently offshore, and offshore application processing has been a little bit less prioritized at the moment. So hopefully it'll be picked up very soon. If you've already been invited, and you're already in the actual visa application process, and also exceeded 17 months, you should be asked for the next step soon. And my guidance would be, because you already exceeded the processing time, maybe if you haven't done your health, the medical examination and police clearance, maybe time to consider doing it, because they're both valid for 1 year, and I would expect your file to be finalized within the 1 year. But then again, if you have any doubts during the application, maybe wait for the further information request. If not, maybe get yourself ready for a decision ready application. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗔𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫𝗫 qualification. Some agents advise me to get RPL then skill assessment. Some says it will ruin my experience point. Why? Which one's better for me to for me? So like a 5 years work experience. My occupation is cabinet maker, living in SA for over 1 year, and my employer is also willing to sponsor me. So rather than waiting for anything else, I would straight away consider going into 482. I guess RPL would be a good option because RPL gives you a good recognition for your education and the occupation qualification, and even without getting the RPL, that actually, when you get an RPL, it reduces a bit of workload from the case officer. They have something to rely on, some assessment to rely on. If not, if you are confident that you can demonstrate all the 5 years work experience, it is plenty for you to apply for 482 visa. So if you have 5 years, they can only count 2 years as your work experience. The rest of the 3 years goes to your qualification, excuse me. So if you require any support, I'm happy to look deep into your application. Please set up an appointment with through one of our contact information. I'm going to take next couple of questions and close it up for the day. So I'll go to Ash M. Until then, no, the Ash M's got 2 questions. I'll go to the one below. So Ash has got a question: what are the chances to get 190 visa with 80 points for SA for 26311? Sorry, I can't remember the occupation. Let me quickly check. 26311.
Computer networking system engineer.
Thank you. 80 points by yourself, Ash, or 80 points by with the state nominated points as well. So that's another question. 80 is a very competitive point for you to get nominated by New South Wales 491. Are you currently living in SA or WA? So you might need to, including state, you might need to get a little bit, if there's any way you can push up your points, you should consider that. 80 is not a bad point, but for 491, but 190 it'll be very, very competitive. I think the chances in a simpler way would be very thin. 𝗪𝗘𝗚𝗪𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗜𝗔𝗡, but you might have other options with the employments as well. So don't give up. See if you can support you. 𝗪𝗘𝗚𝗪𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗜, is it expected that New South Wales will increase the immigration pace for 190 visa from January 22? So I wouldn't I'd say a lot of people, there has been changes already where earlier requirement was New South Wales just to have people in there without having any minimum time period. Now they say at least 3 months. So there has been few changes. So expected to have changes or not, no, I'm not sure. There's no legislative information behind it, so I can't comment firmly on it. But next time around when they open, there might be changes, but highly unlikely in solid or major changes. You're welcome, Video Pro. I'll do one last question. I think I'm over the time limit, but hi, my organization has decided to send me to Australia to work on a 482 permit. Congratulations. Since the borders are currently closed, can we submit 482 applications and what processing times for the visa? Congratulations, you got a 482 nomination interest. So absolutely you can apply for 482, but depending on your occupation, you might be, even though the borders are closed, you might be able to travel into Australia with a travel exemption, and you might be if your occupation is in primary migration skill occupation list. If we bring it up quickly, I could probably show you the PMSOL quickly. So if your occupation's in one of these displayed occupation, you might be able to your application will be processed in a prioritized manner, and also you'll be able to travel during the border closures with an exemption to travel. One last question, Jyotiram, when Australia is expected to software engineer was in 19 BSMOL, so for H, my client is in Sydney, so software engineer 261313, you can definitely if you get a nomination from your employer, you can apply for the visa right now, and also you can you will be processed in a priority manner, and you can apply for a travel exemption and travel to Australia even during the border closures. So you're in a very good place. Last question from Facebook. Hi there, from 𝗔𝗪𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗜𝗔𝗡. We are a family with 3 living in Italy. Yeah, we are having kind of work visa. Could you please explain, are there any ways to move to Australia for work purposes? 𝗔𝗪𝗦𝗧𝗜𝗢𝗥𝗔𝗟𝗜𝗔, it depends on your education and work experience background, and also for you to come to Australia for work visa. One other main thing, as I explained earlier, is for you to have an Australian employer who's willing to sponsor you. If you'd like to learn more about this, kindly set up an appointment with one of our registered migration agents or myself, and then we will discuss further about your background and how you can be eligible and support you further. So, end of another beautiful day, and thank you very much for being with us during this live session, and thanks for your support, thanks for your questions. Hope my answers were helpful. If you need further answers, please be in touch. Call us in via any of these contact details, and I'll help you personally or advise you personally with the information directly related to yourself. Until next week, 3 o'clock on Thursday, wish you all a great weekend and good time coming ahead, and God bless you all.